What's up, blockchain? This is Nick from Truth Blitz. Hope you guys are having a good one. So as always, let's take a little look at the market. So $464 billion overall, and again, Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. 41.9% is where we're at currently. We have Bitcoin at 11,522. So it has been on a steady, slow but sure increase in price, and right now we have a pretty equal mix of green and red when it comes to the alts. So as always, we'll continue to look and keep an eye on things, but we do have a couples that seem to be recovering somewhat. Actually, this is actually down a little more from where it was. Pillar was back up over 80 cents earlier today. So I mentioned Pillar because Pillar is one of my bigger holdings, and I do not plan to sell for a while. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about two short articles. First one here, it kind of goes along with a pattern we've been seeing of companies and banks that are part of the legacy system have been openly showing their fear of cryptocurrencies. Their fear that cryptocurrencies and the technology surrounding it is essentially, maybe not so much the technology, but the crypto market is essentially a threat to their existence. Because if we can be our own banks, we don't need them, right? It's 1 + 1 = 2. So little short history lesson for those who may be new and haven't looked into the history of Bitcoin and why it started. It started as a response to the 2007-2008 financial crisis, and it grew from there. So the idea behind it was to be able to be our own bank, to not be controlled by a central authority, a central bank. So anyway, let's just quickly look into this. Cardtronics, the world's largest ATM operator, considers virtual currencies among the major risks to their business, as stated in its latest 10K annual report. According to the report, the company filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, consumer behavior analysis shows a significant shift in preferable payment methods, and more customers now choose electronic forms of payment over traditional physical banknotes. The continued growth in electronic payment methods such as mobile phone payments or contactless payments could result in a reduced need for cash in the marketplace and ultimately a decline in usage of ATMs, the company claimed. In addition to payment methods above, Cardtronics emphasized virtual currencies such as Bitcoin as possible causes for the general population's reduced demands for cash. All these factors combined would affect transaction volumes in a negative way, the company believes. Now, real quick before I go further, this previous paragraph here. Continued growth in electronic payment methods such as mobile phone payments or contactless payments could result in a reduced need for cash in the marketplace and ultimately a decline in the usage of ATMs, the company's claims. So I know we're going to have a lot of people saying, because there is a big faction of blockchain non-believers who are claiming this is the mark of the beast system, and it's all meant to transition us into a cashless society where they chip us and everything else. And trust me, I'm as big a conspiracy theorist as anybody else. However, that is just that, a theory. There is nothing to support that. So anyway, with the rapid development of new contactless payment methods and increased usage of digital methods of paying in daily life, The move away from cash seems expected. In October 2017, Sweden expressed its willingness to become a cashless society. Already 900 of Sweden's 1,600 bank branches no longer store cash and do not accept cash deposits. Prior to Sweden, the Chamber of Commerce of Denmark proposed allowing most retailers to legally refuse cash payments from clients. Nearly one-third of Danes prefer the cell phone app Mobile Pay to conduct monetary transactions, according to the Ideals news site. Now, to go along with what I said, hold on, let me just read this last paragraph here. At the same time, Hyosung, one of the leading manufacturers of ATMs in Asia, headquartered in Texas, integrated Bitcoin into its international ATM models, allowing millions of users to withdraw and deposit cash to sell or buy Bitcoin. I'd like to see more of those in the United States. So, to go along with what I said, I would rather have a decentralized peer-to-peer system than a centralized bank, a central bank, which is what our Federal Reserve is. You know, you've probably heard this term a million times, this saying, but the Federal Reserve is as federal as Federal Express. It is a centrally owned bank owned by elites. It is not owned by the United States government. So that's who controls our money. And if you're subscribed to my channel, there's a good chance you already know that. So anyway, basically, I do see issues, you know, with potential issues, we'll say, with having fully electronic money. And some of those issues could be, what if there is some kind of mass, large-scale disaster and power and internet is knocked out? Then what do, right? I know a lot of the conspiracy theorists are worried that this is going to be used to control people, you know, and make no mistake, our current monetary system is used to control people. However, having a full electronic money, they can essentially, and this is the worry, if you're not a good boy or girl, and for whatever reason, they can basically just shut you off. Okay, so at this moment in time, I am not worried about that. But again, I don't know what the future will hold. I don't know how things will transition. But currently that is not a concern of mine. Anyway, I want to bring this up quickly. And this lady's a total idiot. It is UK Secretary Diane Abbott. If everyone used Bitcoin, the whole thing would collapse. So let's see what this chick's got to say, huh? Diane Abbott, the United Kingdom's sitting shadow Home Secretary, said in an interview with the House magazine that Bitcoin is a gigantic Ponzi scheme, you don't say, and promised that the Labour Party, of which she's a member, would regulate it if elected. Express news site reports Friday, March 2nd. Speaking to the House, Abbott said that Bitcoin could easily collapse, stressing her opinion that the UK authorities should clamp down on its spread throughout the rest of the economy. Abbott's opinion echoes a statement made today by Mark Carney, Governor of the Bank of England, about the need to hold Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to the same standards as the rest of the financial system. We are looking at the Bitcoin issue. One of the problems with Bitcoin is the extent to which just a gigantic hold on, the extent to which it is just a gigantic Ponzi scheme, the Shadow Home Secretary continued her explanation of risks posed by Bitcoin. Okay. This has become one of my big pet peeves when these people who are supposed to be financial experts, right, go out and call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme or cryptocurrencies a Ponzi scheme. Now, it's true that there has been Ponzi schemes in the crypto space. We all know which ones, you know, BitConnect, BitPetite, USI Tech, and so on and so forth. The list goes on. Most of them have already collapsed because we all know a Ponzi scheme is not sustainable if money is not coming in. So this is one of my big pet peeves, that these so-called financial experts don't know the definition of an effing Ponzi scheme. Because if they did, they would not be calling Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme. Or maybe it is that they very well know the definition of a Ponzi scheme, but if they use that term, right, and call Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme, and they're supposed to be trusted financial experts, then the public will change its opinion of Bitcoin, or, you know, it will basically stop some of the public from coming into the crypto space. Now, we need to be smarter than that as human beings, because people in power do these kinds of things all the time. Okay, so it's to me, it's either complete idiocy or propaganda, one of the two. Either way, it's bullshit. So we'll leave that there. And if everyone took their Bitcoin money and tried to buy a new car all at once, the whole thing would collapse. Okay. No, it wouldn't. Okay. For the whole thing to collapse, every person would have to sell all of their Bitcoin at once. Okay. What these people are saying is probably the biggest form of FUD that you can have. Something like that would not happen. And they very well know that. They're talking theoretical. And it's ridiculous. It really is. So anyone who is tied to the banking industry, the legacy banking industry, who is talking bad about cryptos, Bitcoin, etc., is doing that because they have ulterior motives. They're doing that because if this keeps growing the way it is, their jobs are at risk. Their very existence is at risk. So that is why they are doing this. They want to stir up as much FUD, create as much panic as they can, because they don't want to become obsolete. They don't want to lose power. And that is what it comes down to. So let's see what else we have here. The Labour MP is known in the British public for making controversial and sometimes ill-informed remarks. Geez, go figure. Ill-informed remarks on a range of topics. There it is right there. Abbott once suggested that her party would be able to hire 10,000 people for the UK police at a total cost of £300,000, translating to an average annual salary of £30 or a little over $40 per each new officer. So there you have it, folks. This lady, as I said earlier in the article, is an idiot. Plain and simple. Diane Abbott also tweeted that one of the lessons to be learned from the 2017 Grenfell Tower fire is that fire puts out water. Fire puts out water. And called for the UK government to do something about the drought in the province of Davao del Norte in Indonesia, which is actually located in the Philippines. Abbott is not the only public figure to harshly criticize Bitcoin over the past month. Matthew Lesko, and I talked about this fool, you know, the Riddler, the free money guy, who became famous in the 90s by writing books on how to get federal grants from the U.S. government, called Bitcoin a scam and a gamble in an interview with CNET. Charlie Munger, a 94-year-old business partner of Warren Buffett and the vice president of the Berkshire Hathaway conglomerate, said that the idea of cryptocurrency is totally asinine and that it is disgusting that people buy Bitcoin. I talked about that fool as well. Again, made his money in the legacy system, and anybody who really knows about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin that is in the legacy system, this part of the legacy system, knows very well that that system, although it's not going to happen tomorrow or next week, is at risk because of the crypto space. Anyway, guys, that is it for now. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Liking the videos helps them get further up on the search results. So comment. I always try to stay engaged with my my subscribers and people who comment. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Block Party podcast channel as well. Link is right beneath me. Check out that interview with Stephen Nico Williams of Populous that we just released today. And I'll see you guys next time.